Today on Sports Central, we go over a college football game preview and prediction on the 2020 Alamo Bowl between the Texas Longhorns and the Colorado Buffaloes, two teams of which have had very good seasons. There's no doubt with that, and both teams are meeting once again. Both teams used to be former Big 12 rivals, and this should make for a good matchup here between both of these teams. We're going to be going over a full game preview and prediction on this one here today, starting out with your team trends. Last game for Texas, they beat Kansas State 69-31. Very impressive win there out of Texas, no doubt. I mean, Kansas State is a team that's been pretty up and down all season, but still it's a good win in the end for Texas. As for Colorado here, they lost to Utah 21-38, and that was a brutal loss there for Colorado, considering, I mean, if they would have won that game, there was a good chance that they would have been in the Pac-12 championship game, but still, I mean, it's been a great season for Colorado. Like, they're 4-1 right now, and even though they've only played 5 games, I would still consider this to be one of the better seasons that they've had. And even if Colorado had a full season here, it leaves me wondering how good Colorado would be, like whether this team could possibly be a 8 or 9 win team in a normal season. Like, I mean, they looked really good in the time that we did see them, so it would have been interesting to see that, but nonetheless, still a great season. They're 4-1 coming into this game. Texas is ranked 20th in the nation. They're 6-3, and they've got a 1-game winning streak. Colorado with a 1-game losing streak. This game is going to be on Tuesday, December 29th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time in San Antonio, Texas. Spread currently says Texas by 10.5. ESPN FPI is going Texas here 80%. Vegas prediction also going with the Longhorns 38-27. So Longhorns are actually really favored in this one, which is a little bit surprising considering, I mean, Colorado's looked really good all season, but I mean, it does make sense. Colorado's only played 5 games. They've not played a lot this season, but Texas, I mean, Texas does not want to sleep on this Colorado team coming into this matchup. I think Colorado is definitely capable of winning this game. I mean, Texas is a good team, but Colorado's been playing pretty well as well, so you can't forget about that. But Texas is favored here pretty significantly. But here's your stat comparison for this game. Texas is 41 points per game, 29 points allowed per game. They got 274 pass yards as well per game on average, and that's very impressive out of Sam Ehlinger. He's the quarterback for Texas. He's put up 2,400 yards on the season with 25 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Meanwhile, for the rushing core, they got 183 rush yards per game. Then for yards allowed, they got 274 passing and then 135 rushing. As for Colorado here, they got 29 points per game, 27 points allowed. They got 202 pass yards per game, 218 rush yards. And then for yards allowed, they got 220 passing and then 156 rushing. So really, both teams here have played very well on both sides of the ball, especially, I mean, Colorado's been very impressive in the rushing game. That's been the big surprise for this team this season, as they put up an average 218 rush yards per game. Like, the passing game's been good. They got Neuer, of course, who's put up 1,000 yards. But if you look at the rushing game, I mean, that's been the key thing for this Colorado offense so far. Kind of the opposite for Texas, as they've got Sam Ehlinger, who's been a quarterback that has been extremely underrated, I think. I mean, even though the thing is for Sam Ehlinger here is that he's been as good of a player in the Big 12 as you can get. But the thing is for him is that he just has not had a lot of talent around him to work with. And that's the reason why he hasn't had much success with Texas, is because, I mean, once again, he's got Sam Ehlinger, or this team has Sam Ehlinger. That's about it. So that's been kind of the primary problem for the Longhorns. But still, I mean, they still got talent. They're ranked 20th in the nation. Here's some key points for this one. Texas has been in the background of the Big 12 pretty much all season. I mean, if you look at where they stand in the standings, I mean, Texas is ranked 4th, or finished out 4th in the conference, which really is not terrible, but they're just kind of in the background. They're behind Iowa State and Oklahoma pretty much for the entire season. But I mean, Colorado's been playing a great season as well. Like, this is a team that finished out 2nd in the Pac-12 South, pretty much tied with USC for that, and they've had a pretty good season as well, as they're currently sitting at 4-1. So can't forget about that too. But how each team would win this situation, and for Texas being a team that's probably got more talent than Colorado, I mean, if Texas can get up by a couple of touchdowns early, that's going to be very impactful in giving them the win. But for Colorado here, considering once again Colorado, they don't have as good of recruiting as Texas does, so they probably don't have as much talent. But Colorado's been playing good all season. They just got to keep doing what they were doing in their previous 5 games, and they should possibly be on their way to a really big win here. This would be huge for Colorado if they can win this game. Like, this would be a huge win for them. This would be a huge win to finish off the season, and this would give them some great momentum going into a 2021 season, which could actually be a very pivotal one for Colorado, considering how good of a season this has been for them. But I do expect moderate scoring here. I think both offenses, considering both offenses have been putting up right around 35 points on average, we could see, I don't think we'll see a shootout by any means, but we will be seeing moderate scoring. And that's what I'm going with here. I'm going to go with Texas. 31-23 is going to be your final score. Texas is just the better team. Sam Ehlinger, I do trust in him more as a quarterback. I mean, you got Neuer on the Colorado side who's been playing pretty well, but I think he's just too young of a quarterback right now to win a bowl game like this. I think Sam Ehlinger has got experience with these situations. He's been playing pretty well. I mean, if you look at his accuracy rate, it's extremely impressive, but also, I mean, he's put up 25 touchdowns and 5 interceptions on the season, and the thing is that he does not commit turnovers very often, and for Colorado here, I mean, you're going to have to win the turnover margin huge if you're going to win this game, and so for Texas, I'm going to go with them. I just think that they're the better team here. Probably it's going to be 65% towards Texas as well. And another reason why I'm going with the Longhorns here is because they've played 9 games. Colorado's only played 5, and that could have a big impact as well because we've seen Texas more, and this is a team that's more confirmed to be a good team than Colorado right now. Like, Colorado's 4-1, but they've only played 5 games. But, I mean, still, Colorado's a good team. This has been a good season for them, no doubt, with finishing out with a record of 4-1. But we'll have to see what happens here. I'm going to go with Texas, though, once again, 31-23 being the final score. Let me know your thoughts and comments below on this game, though. If you enjoyed this preview, so like on it, subscribe as well, as it really helps the channel. I really appreciate that. But once again, thanks again for watching. I appreciate you guys all sticking around. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you all later.